Hello, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my channel. I like to switch it up a little bit, um, talking about college football and a little bit about Notre Dame. Because while that's my team, and that's where the city I'm from. Where I'm from, the city where Notre Dame is located, the university, South Bend, Indiana, to be exact. And I'm also kind of get into my mindset a little bit about sports and things of that nature. And I guess what triggered me is because obviously, Notre Dame finished their season. They 12-0. A lot of people are. I don't care if you're a person you don't like Notre Dame. That's fine. But what triggered me is because people kind of hate on it. But like I said, they're kind of in their feelings about it. They may think that Notre Dame overrated. Some things they may not consider as far as the scheduling, how Notre Dame choose the schedule, and in comparison with some of the other teams. Now, me personally, I'm like I said, I'm from here. I'm from the city. I work at the university. That was my first job. Was working for the University of Notre Dame. I'm no longer there, so I kind of know how the vibe is, and I understand like a lot of people they may not like. Uh, not into Notre Dame like that. You got the old Rockney, winning the championship, the Four Horsemen, all that type of stuff. That all that old stuff and all that. Well, today's like a new day, and some people they not really feeling that energy. Even some of the people that are fans currently now, they know it's a new age, a new day, and all that old stuff don't really matter. But they still them championships do matter. You know what I'm saying? So, and you got to keep in mind that with any of these teams, right? I don't care what it is. These some young players, some young grown men, but it's still they're young. They're from 18 to 23. Because some of these players are like fifth year seniors, stuff like that from any team. Just any team playing this football, and this is a very very physical sport, and it's also mental too. So it has a lot to do with the coaching. I don't matter what team you are, and it has a lot to do at the same time. It's like what scheme you trying to come up with, and it also comes down to your physicality because that's a lot of work. You have to put yourself on a line, using your physical abilities, and you got to be well prepared in endurance and be able to win a game. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, like for example, some people will say that Notre Dame was overrated. Okay, Ohio State right now in the college football, they're number 6. They just beat Michigan. We beat Michigan early in the season with our who is now our backup quarterback, Winbush, right? So we won the first 3 games with Winbush. Okay, the 4th game we end up using Ian Book. Okay, so Winbush, okay, he had 170 yards the first game against Michigan. Okay, then Ball State. But to me, I think they should have played Ball State first and then played Michigan. That would have given them a little bit more momentum and more offensive power, kind of like last year. Like, for example, they played Georgia, and I'm going to go to their old schedule right here. And they played Georgia. That was their second game, so that was the big game right there. You know what I mean? And see the difference. They played Temple, play a little fluky team that kind of gave them more momentum. In my opinion, they should have did that the same this year. And for those of you who think that Notre Dame can't hang with SEC teams or whatever, man, they played Georgia. Actually, they should have won that game, but that was all on Notre Dame. So, as a fan of Notre Dame, I'm kind of hard on them too, and I would read the people's body language. Because that's one thing about me, man. I read people's body language when they out there on the field. I go off their energy, I go off their vibe, how they move, when they choose certain plays that they call, and all that. I read the people's facial language, including Winbush and stuff like that. And it's all about your mindset too. So I read all that type of stuff, man. The good and bad. I have my loves about Notre Dame and my hates about Notre Dame. But the simple fact that they was they was pretty much winning the game last year. You know what I mean? And people want to go and probably compare them to Vanderbilt this year. You know, which is not a so good team, but still the simple fact that this is a whole totally different team than last year. In some ways, I think last year's team were better than this year, even though they lost the 3 games. Okay, so let me give. And one thing I want to talk about is travel. Notre Dame is known for traveling to different regions, and they're independent conference, right? So they're not in like SEC where you play the same people in your conference. They're not like the Big Ten, you know, where you have to play the same teams in your conference, or the Pac-12, or the Pac-12, or the what do you call it? The Big 12. That's what I want to say. Okay, they don't play the same team, so they have more flexibility to be able to travel and play the teams in different regions. What they're known for, they play teams on the West Coast, they'll play teams from down south and the East Coast, and include the Midwest, you know, where the region is from. So that's the thing that you got to really consider when you're talking about a team like Notre Dame. All right, now I'm gonna use Alabama for example, right? Alabama, they don't travel that far. Okay, and I think clearly, hands down, Alabama is the best team in college football right now, and I think Clemson, deservedly so, is right behind them. Okay, now I think I like about Alabama that defense is always solid. Every year they're always solid, and their offense, especially now, have been on point. Okay, and they pretty much consistent on blowing they teams out. Now over the years, that's one thing I hate about Notre Dame is that it seems like they be kind of passive on offense. They don't never want to run a score up, even the team. I don't care if it's Navy. Man, y'all need to run the score up, man. You know, y'all got all that offensive talent every single year. I want to see them run the scores up all the time, man. That's just me as a fan. I get frustrated. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to be being kind of conservative or whatever. You know, I kind of hate that. You know, I'd be wanting to run a score up like maybe the old USC teams or the Oregon team or just Clemson, how they doing now. I want to see them to go all the way out to their full potential. But a lot of times they really don't run a score up, okay? But don't get that mistaken is that thinking that just because they don't do that, that when you get an opponent to actually play them, all right, that makes a difference, okay? When you in the real life facing an opponent, okay? Because it don't matter because you can run a score up against these other teams. That don't mean that you're going to do that against Notre Dame. Because, for example, Notre Dame, the most points scored on Notre Dame, you got to consider that too. For those of you who think that Notre Dame is overrated, okay? The most points scored on them this year is what? 27 points against Wake Forest? Let's be real. And I think that they shouldn't have had that many points. And that's when Ian Book took over as the quarterback for this year, okay? Ian Book, I give credit, he did his thing. But I think the reason why that he did so good that game is he wasn't over aggressive. He was throwing short routes. And me dissecting and looking at the Notre Dame team and their offense, I was getting so frustrated, even with the Vanderbilt game, that they were trying to do too much with Wimbush. You know what I mean? Trying to figure out, have him in the pocket. As big and physical and strong as he is, he can run and throw the ball, okay? He ain't got to throw no bombs and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? They should have did the same thing. They should do the same thing they did with Ian Book. And I think they had success with Ian Book for trying and error, trying to use Wimbush. And then now that they knew what they wanted, that game when they played Wake Forest, and he wasn't greedy, trying to throw like for 40 yards and stuff like that. That's what they should be doing with Wimbush and let him use his athletic ability. That's what they should have been doing in the first place. Probably wouldn't have been in that situation. And maybe Wimbush probably still would have been the quarterback. But the thing I like about Book is that he has a sharpness and sharp IQ. I like he will be on point. He's not hesitant as like Wimbush. So I got to give credit as far as Ian Book on that note, okay? But yeah, The most points they done scored like on Notre Dame defense is 27 points. Okay, all right, and you see what they did with Syracuse. All right, now what I'm going to get in, make a point is region. Okay, Notre Dame does a lot of traveling. Okay, Alabama. I'm gonna use Alabama for example. So all the teams that they play is pretty much in the same region, the Southeast region. Now, if you look on the map, okay, Alabama right here, all the teams they play, whether it's Georgia, okay, LSU, they're not really traveling that far. Tennessee, everything's pretty much in the same region. Notre Dame, for example, they might play a team in, they go to California. Okay, they play like Stanford, or they will play USC. Okay, then they go back to the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? Since they got basically contracts with playing a lot of the ACC teams, even though they're independent. Okay, you traveling to Florida, or okay, you playing Miami or Florida State, or you playing teams like North Carolina, stuff like that. You got to really consider. But a lot of people who not aware that that's a lot of wear and tear on your body. So even when they were playing USC, okay, USC, and them boys did look tired, I ain't gonna lie. You could tell in that first half, and that was kind of pissing me off, but at the same time, you gotta consider this. Okay, Florida State, right? Okay, they play them at home. Then you go play Syracuse, okay? Syracuse, they play them in New York City, the Yankee Stadium. Then they coming back to, that's on the East Coast. You got to fly all the way to the West Coast, to USC, to Los Angeles, and play USC. That's a lot. That's a lot of wear and tear on your body. I don't care what nobody says. You know what I mean? Maybe if they would have been more rested up, it would have been a totally different game. I'm keeping all the way 100. So a lot of y'all teams out there, you fans of your teams and things of that nature, but still, even though they looked at bad, still 17 points. And I think that's too many points still scored on Notre Dame by USC, to be honest. A team like that, you know what I mean? And I still think they should have played a whole lot better, but you got to consider that them coming from all the way to the East Coast. I mean, these are young people, right? So these young, grown men flying from and this is a physical sport, coming from Yankee Stadium, the previous game, then flying all the way to LA, you got to consider it, okay, ladies and gentlemen. And then plus, USC is one of Notre Dame's rivals. And I'm going to be honest, too. I expect teams to play Notre Dame hard as well. I mean, if you're a rival, whether it's Michigan, whether we playing Michigan State, Navy, even Navy be playing them hard. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't overlook that as well. Because, like I said, if maybe you're an Ohio State fan and you think that Notre Dame is overrated, or you will see when the defense speaks for itself. You can look at the scores and see how many points are scored against the team, even though their offense haven't always been playing to their full potential and their full capability. I'll say in some ways, last year's schedule, Notre Dame, play a little bit better offensively than this year, even though they got Ian Book, okay? And like I said before, I'll be getting mad as a fan of Notre Dame is that they don't never want to run up the score. Why not? You got all that offensive ability, and you don't want to run the score. And the thing is that when I look at the eye test of Notre Dame, when they get the first possession and they score quick, me as a fan, I'm like, dude, why don't y'all keep that same energy the whole entire game? Okay? Run them little short routes and stuff like that. For example, if you watch, and not be greedy, if you watch when they play against Wake Forest this year, Book wasn't greedy. He was throwing, boom, boom, hitting, boom, 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 and y'all can run up the ball, run up the score like that. That's the potential that Notre Dame offense has, okay? But when you try to overcomplicate, like when they play, overcomplicate the playbook, and instead of just letting them use their natural ability, you cause confusion. Because I was seeing it in Wimbush's face against Winterford. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of going on my little rant, and I'm being honest about the things that I love about Notre Dame, my team, and as well as the things that I don't love. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and he looked real confused against Vanderbilt, man. Y'all try to keep him in the pocket that game. Like, nah, dog. Throw the short routes and all that. Then you'll have to worry about him throwing an interception, trying to throw deep, even though he do got an arm. He can throw deep. But, you throw the short routes and stuff like that, you could easily run up the score, man. I'm telling you, you know what I mean? One could say, well, maybe they don't run the plays or score quick, like when they first get their first possession. What they usually do, they usually score pretty quick. I noticed that about that for years, about Notre Dame football team for years, that they had that ability. I just want them to keep that same old energy, not trying to overdo things and overcomplicate it. I mean, one could say like, well, maybe that's on the defense because the defense has changed up. I'm like, I'm not buying that with all the offensive power that they always have on a team. And one thing I do love about them is that they have more endurance than the previous teams. Okay, these last 2 years, they used to have more endurance than the previous Notre Dame teams because like years ago in the 2000s, I was getting real upset. Okay, mate, real upset. Even with the 2012 team, and they were 12-0, man. It seemed like they was mentally beat and physically beat because Alabama, point blank, was way better than us and way outclassed. But I feel like they didn't have enough endurance to play 2 quarters, and that's been one of my pet peeves about Notre Dame, being able to play for 2 whole quarters, man, and have the physical endurance. Okay, so they've been doing that with them. Okay, and but yeah, their team, Notre Dame, schedule their games a certain way, and they always traveling a lot. Okay, when you are an independent team who is in an independent conference, that wears and tears on your body. A lot of people don't really consider that. Like I said, Alabama, they don't really travel that far. Okay. Shout out to the Saints. But that's my football team, by the way. The Bears, God. Coach, I've never been a fan of them. I'm gonna keep out over 100. But me, I recently. And another thing about sports is like so much information right now. It's like a lot of people deep into the conspiracies and all that. Me personally, I have stopped watching sports for a while because it's not a lot of stuff is not the same. It don't matter if you're watching boxing, if you're watching if you're watching the NBA, the NFL, or where the coaches trying to, not the coaches. Or if you hear about, referees betting in the game with as far as the NBA, it's a lot of truth to that. But at the same time, these players still got to go out there and be physically gifted enough to go out there and compete. You have, and this is pluses and minuses about this new internet age and social media and stuff like that. We have all this technology where we can see all the fakeness in sports and all that type of stuff. But at the same time, some people go little too extreme. Like, say, for example, right? And I know I'm all over the place. But say, for example, right? If you talk about LeBron in the finals, right? Against Golden State and they won. You got them deep people like, oh, yeah, LeBron, they were given by the Illuminati. They was made to win the NBA finals because LeBron James is connected to King James because LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers they won the same day as King James in the Bible birthday. Like, stuff like that. Okay, yeah, it's some truth to that, maybe so. But at the same time, they still got to go out there and play. I don't care if they do throw some of the games. Because to me, I do see that sometimes certain teams in the NBA, they kind of throw games a little bit. But at the end of the day, they still have to have that physical ability at the end of the day. So you can't take the credit away from these players. Another thing, like, for example, I go even further back in the day when the Oakland Raiders back in the day, it was something about that kick, the kick that I think that, whatever the case may be, when they played the Patriots ended up winning that game. I feel like they cheated, which they did cheated the Oakland Raiders. Maybe they would have been the NFL champions, but that ended up being Tom Brady's, uh, first Super Bowl championship. Another thing, back in the day, in 2000, Portland Trailblazers. That was my team back in the day. I've always been a Bulls fan, but I rolling with the Portland Trailblazers because I was, Scottie Pippen and all that type of stuff, and the team that they had. Man, it was up by 17 points, and I gotta give credit to Kobe Bryant, man. He came back and he won the game. They basically, they literally cheated him out of a car. I feel like it, but I still give credit to Kobe Bryant for bringing him back because he was hooping, right? But it was one call that Shaq had fouled Steve Smith back in the day, but he didn't get that call. I was so mad about that, but at the same time, you gotta let stuff go. So we do know that in sports that they do kind of cheat a little bit sometimes here and there. I mean that's part of the game. I mean that's part of the league. And for all you think that, and let me get back to on the point that to the point, far as like college football and stuff like that. And you thinking like maybe some of these things are rigged. Some of the teams have favoritism. And you may feel a certain type of way about Notre Dame because that's your rival. That's a rival against your own team. You may think they're overrated, and I understand that there's be a lot of hype about it. But at the end of the day, you can't knock Notre Dame. You can't sleep on Notre Dame this year, even though they're not running up the scores like Clemson and Alabama. But at the same time, you can't take nothing away from them. You can't just say that. They can't compete with the SEC team or Oklahoma, whoever, because they're going to show and improve at the end of the day. Okay, so that's all I gotta say. And then even as far as Clemson, okay, I'm gonna go back to Clemson. All right, Clemson. To make my point first, okay, Clemson, that's in Carolina, one of the Carolinas. They don't travel as far. Okay. They don't have that travel. On the ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference, that's all right here. They don't have to travel that far like Notre Dame has to do, okay? You in the Carolinas, all that area right there, okay, to play your team up against the East Coast. Notre Dame go from California to down south to the East Coast. Notre Dame does that type of thing every single year, okay? It's not to put blame or whatever. That's their choice. That's Notre Dame's choice. They always trying to do something extra spontaneous to capture the nation's eyes, the people's eyes in college football. That's just the way Notre Dame do things. Okay, that's why a lot of teams like Notre Dame. You either love them or you hate them. That just comes with the territory of Notre Dame, including the fans. Because a lot of people, including people from around here, because a lot of people are Michigan fans, for example, instead of Notre Dame fans. Okay, and you got people in Michigan because I live right at the border. You got a lot of people are Notre Dame fans in Michigan and don't like Michigan. You know what I mean? So it's a vice versa. So it just got the same effect. And then we do have a lot of people. They may have a sour taste in their mouth about Notre Dame because we had a lot of potential coaches that could have been here. Overmeyer, I think he was a choice at one time. One of the old Raiders coach, he was a choice at the time. I can't think of his name, but I can't blame them because it's like a lot of pressure coming with being a part of the Notre Dame University. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times the alumni and in the old tradition, that could be a lot of pressure for Notre Dame, especially after they did Tyrone Willingham dirty, and that's why a lot of people in this area they stopped liking Notre Dame because they did Tyrone Willingham dirty. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. And then we paid for it by having a sorry coach like Charlie Rice. He was garbage. We paid for it, and now we got Brian Kelly, who is the best coach in years. Because for me, and I don't care if next year Notre Dame don't have a good year as this year, you know what I mean? He shouldn't be threatened to be fired. I mean, I know that a couple years ago they had a 4-8 season, but still, For them to be prepared to be physically conditioned to play two halves, that's a plus for me. So I see that. I noticed that. Yeah, Brian Kelly, he the best coach in years for Notre Dame, probably since Lou Holtz. You know what I mean? So they shouldn't even think about it. I don't care how I hyped up. I don't care how much. I don't care how the alumni feel, because, like I said, with being the prestigious university that Notre Dame is, and with all the tradition, it's a lot of pressure for coaches and players and all that type of stuff. So, yeah, I can't blame coaches for not choosing, even though they can make a lot of money, for not choosing to want to coach at Notre Dame. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. What I want to say. So yeah, don't sleep on us, ladies and gentlemen. Don't sleep on the Irish. Don't get too caught up in your favorite team, or you think Ohio State should be in and Notre Dame shouldn't be in it. You know what I mean? And we know that they still have to play their conference championship games with Alabama and Georgia, as well as Clemson. You know, they playing in Pittsburgh. We had a close game with them. You know, or what have you. You know what I mean? And that's going to be an interesting game. Let's see how Clemson come out now. And they have a very, very talented group of people. But, you know, they're young too as well. And we kind of see that. And they have a freshman quarterback. So, you got to keep that in mind with any team. So, you don't know what team might show up. Like, for example, Oklahoma. You know they got the high-power offense, but their defense is garbage. And also, teams in the Pac-12, they do run up the score a little bit. I mean, that's just how they play. They got high-power offense. Their defense is so-so, you know. So that's another thing we consider. Ohio State, you don't know what team they're going to show up. You know they had the offensive ability and as well as defense, but more so their offense. You know what I mean? You don't know what team they're going to show up, you know what I mean? So they had the skill and will, and they just smash Michigan. Because, you know, a lot of us in defense, we happy. But I kind of actually like Michigan. You know, I'm a person that like to see some of the teams besides Notre Dame in our region from up north actually do kind of good in the ball games, because they kind of assume that all the teams from maybe from down south or from the west coast, you know what I mean, like the USC's of the old, are automatically going to smash teams from other leagues, which that's not always the case, because you know, at the end of the day, we teams from up north, we got that physicality too. It's just all about them preparing the players, you know what I mean, besides just recruiting. Because Notre Dame, I don't know if y'all out there know that, Notre Dame always had some of the top recruits every single year. You know, they just may not pay up to that par, you know what I mean, because it's all about preparing the players, but they always had always been in the top 10 far as recruiting their players. Okay, even their teams, even the years that they suck, but at the end of the day, it'd be like a little nuances that determine them, how they play, how to prepare them, and how they win the games. Because there's been a lot of times that it'd be close games that they should have won and they had garbage season, but it shouldn't have been the case with all the talent that they have in it and that they recruit. Okay, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Just don't count us out. Peace out. It's gonna be exciting this weekend and see how Alabama and Georgia come out, how Pittsburgh and Clemson come out, and that's all.